Guess I should do all the scouts. Um, no, Houston Baptist was Tari's, and when we were over the break and everybody's with family, I figured if I was going to change a game and pick up a game, I might as well go back to my roots and actually do the scout. But yeah, I was proud of us. I think that was a team. You know, I wasn't sure how this sounds strange, but I wasn't sure how good they were because they were good against good opponents, and they were kind of not as good sometimes, but they beat, teams they were better than. So, and they hadn't played a Power 5 team with kind of our size. So I just knew that they had guards that were going to really attack us and get us in rotations and things like that. And so, just proud ultimately of how we got in transition. They really struggled to guard our ball screens, and when we separated, we got kind of anything around the rim that we wanted. And, I think, we had good balance that way. I can't tell you what the stats were because they were wrong all night. So, but I felt pretty good about kind of our effort, and especially how we came out at halftime. I think we put that 6-0 run like right away on them, and I think that was the difference in the game.
With Melissa on the bench, they were able to make it competitive, and then obviously she's back in the game to start the third quarter, and you mentioned those first 3 buckets. Was there an emphasis at halftime that we need to put this away, and we're going to have Melissa on the court to do it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we always want Melissa on the court. I mean, the reality is we should, when she's off the court, still be able to do what we're supposed to do. But I think, those first 3 possessions, they were transition baskets. We really talked about being better in our rotations, making sure that if they drove and got by our first level, that our second level was there, that our third level was there. And, we challenged their shots. And so even though they weren't turnovers, they were shots that almost looked like turnovers, and we ran out on them and got some easy ones. And it's kind of amazing sometimes how, a transition layup or 2 kind of, gets you going. It makes the open threes, makes the jump shots that much easier.
Melissa, because of the way that you picked up 2 fouls in the first half, were you sitting over there on the bench going, I should be in the game?
Oh, yeah, I always want to be in the game. I mean, I'm a competitor. Any chance I get, I want to be on the court.
Can you enlighten us on the technical fouls?
Flexing.
All I said was and one, not flex.
Shoulder guns.
Yeah. And I think I'm actually not someone, I don't have a hard, fast rule about playing a player with 2 fouls. We had other players in with 2 fouls, but it was an opportunity to get other people minutes in that. If that's a different game, I'm just talking to her, saying, hey, we got to be careful here, understand. Like some coaches have that hard, fast rule. When you pick up your second, you're sitting till halftime. I don't believe in that. I think often, I don't know what she ended up with because I don't know if the fouls are right, but she probably ended up with 2 fouls. And so sometimes I think as coaches, you can outthink yourself, and then you almost foul your own player out by not playing them, like being worried that they're going to pick up a foul. And then 20 minutes later, they still have 2 fouls, and you sat them for 7 minutes needlessly. So I think it's about trust sometimes. It's about what's the game situation and what are we able to get away with here. And so I think that's the situation, kind of how I tend to coach the game. Well, I mean, I don't know if she knew this, but she was shooting 18% from 3 coming into this game. So I think going 3 for 4, assuming that's correct. I think it's important. I think it's the dimension she brings when she comes in is the ability to stretch, the ability to be a high-low passer, and do things a little differently than these 2. I mean, her game's not a power game around the rim. She's not going to out-jump anyone. She's not going to, and so, using her strengths and showing that she's capable, I think sometimes all it takes is, a little spark to give someone confidence in that situation. I mean, Liz gave her a great pass late in the Michigan game at the top of the key, and the ball rattled in and out. And sometimes, that's the difference in winning and losing a close game is taking and making that shot. And so hopefully, this is just kind of that catalyst.
Did you know you were close to a double-double in the second half? Were you trying to get those rebounds to keep that streak going?
Not because they, like she said, the stats was wrong the whole time. So even if I looked up, all I seen was the little BU banner. So, so I didn't know how much I had. But, I mean, the objective is always to rebound in every game.
I think she missed a couple shots, took assists away from Sarah so she could get her double-double. I knew. I mean, I had them statting it because, I mean, quite frankly, I want her to have that opportunity to keep the streak going, and I also don't want her to be in the game and get injured when she doesn't need to get injured. And you can't control injuries, but I think you got to be smart as a coach, especially as short a bench as we have, about things like that. So, I wasn't, that's why I was frustrated with the stats, because you look down and you really don't know. And the minute she got it, she was coming out, and that's not the first time. So, I mean, basically, eventually Michael looked at me and he said, I am confidently sure that at this point she has her double-double. And I said, all right, get out, But, and there's games that's not going to be important, But I think in that situation, when you have the ability to do it, like I'm smart enough as a coach, believe me, at the end when we had 3 bigs in the game, I wanted to call a timeout and take advantage of what we had. But I'm not going to do that. Up 20, I think it's a bad look, But I kind of wanted to after they picked up Kate full court and stripped her. I felt like this is my chance to call a timeout and say, if you're going to do that, then I'm going to go post her up against your little. But I just think there's a time and place for that stuff, and a time and place where the objective is to have more points on the board than your opponent, and knowing the difference.
Queen, you seem really active on the boards, especially in the first half, but also kind of got your offensive game going, picking your spots. Is that the way it seemed to you?
Yeah, kind of been in a little slump, so just trying to find my rhythm game by game, not trying to do too much.
The 17-foot jumper stands out in my mind. Is that one that kind of built your confidence a little bit?
Yeah, we work on that shot a lot, especially compared to last year, so I definitely have grown a lot of confidence in that shot.
And then Alyssa, it seemed like any time you had your hands on the ball with any space whatsoever, they didn't have any answer.
If they didn't strip it from us, it was going to be 2 points. Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, when it's like that, are you just looking for a bucket every time?
I mean, yeah, if I'm open, I'm a attempt to score it. Not every time, but, like, if my teammate open, too, I'm a pass it. Got to get my assist up a little bit.
Will that change when Big 12 starts? I mean, will those opportunities, just change a little bit?
I feel like it depends how they guard us. I mean, if I'm open, then I'm going to try and score the ball every time.
Can I ask about Kansas State? Yeah. So Kansas State on Sunday, I don't know if you started scouting them yet or not, but just starting the Big 12 play, what does that mean to you?
I mean, it's one season's over. I mean, you kind of divide the season into kind of your non-conference, your conference, and then your postseason. So, we're through one stretch, and I think this was a good momentum game for us heading in there. We needed this game. I mean, not having a game would have been really discouraging to not kind of have the momentum. And quite frankly, when you look at the cancellations and postponements tonight, there were more games canceled than there were played. I mean, there were 25 games canceled and 17 played, and that was a couple hours before our game time. I know Kansas canceled theirs like 30 minutes before tip last night. So, we got to control what we can control. Kansas State, Lee is obviously a force on the block. Everything they do is to get her touches. They surround her, amazingly. They're surrounding her with 3 freshman guards that can shoot it and pass it and play and have size. So they're a little different than they were last year. In fact, they've got a couple kids that were starters last year that now come off the bench for them, kind of behind these freshmen. And so, it's that combination of they make threes and they'll beat you from 5 feet with Lee. And so, they'll mix defenses on us. These guys got to have their running shoes on. They got to run by Lee all night long. If one's not running by her, the other has to run by her. Like, that's our advantage, is playing around her, playing faster than her, making their guards stay in the hole. Because we don't want to play a half-court game all night long with them.
And maybe this is for the players, is Lee a completely different challenge than like Naz was, the game before last?
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yes.
she's like 6'5", a lot stronger, and like her game is strictly on the post. Like, I mean, I haven't seen as if she's expanded it or not, but like
She has
strictly,
really good
like,
touch
straight
around the rim,
lobs.
too.
Yeah.
She's a turnaround kid where she's certainly going to get lobs, and they run a lot of stuff to try to utilize her size on lobs. The biggest difference between her and Naz Hillman is Naz is going to do all her work early, and then kind of struggled when we were able to space her and play between her and the basket. Lee's just that turnaround kid. She plays with great size, and she scores over the top. Naz needs to score by you. She needs to get around you. She needs to get a shoulder into you and use her body to leverage. Lee just wants to turn and shoot over you if she can't get the lob. So it's just different. It's like you got to make her make contested shots over the top. And they haven't played a lot of people that have our length either. So but they're not gonna stop going to her. I mean that's every set they run almost like has a component where it's a touch on the block, it's an overload on the block, it's a high-low look on the block, like everything they do. And then they play out of that. If you help, they'll skip it and shoot it. Like they're not going to not take open shots on the perimeter, but they're open because of kind of the congestion that you want against her.
Where do you feel like you guys are at playing the type of game you want to play going into conference 12 games into this thing?
I think we're further ahead defensively than we are offensively. I thought we made progress. We ran a lot more of our ball screen offense today, and I thought we got really good action. I thought we got pops. I thought we got slips. I thought we got rolls. We had guards attacking and throwing the drop pass late. So a lot of the things that we've been drilling and working on kind of came to fruition at points tonight, which was good. I just think that defensively, it's about our synergy's a little bit better than it is offensively. Like we just have to keep understanding like where people want the ball, how we need to screen, what teams are doing to us, how they're doing it. And every game's a little different. I mean, this was a team tonight that, we didn't know how they were going to guard our ball screens because they've switched it up in a lot of their games. And so we went into the game saying we're going to have to read. Well, they kind of they dropped and played drop coverage tonight. So, but then all of a sudden they jumped out and they hard hedged us a little bit. And then they jammed these guys a little to start the third quarter. And that was really ineffective. So, it's kind of like them just understanding what are people doing to us and then what's the counter to that. And that's just like happens over time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
These guys are like, your answers are too long. We want to go home.